Okay, so l'chaim everybody. And it's so exciting to be here tonight to celebrate that we have a connection to this amazing soul that came into the world about 300 years ago, somewhere in Ukraine, and that somehow that we here in Israel or in America or wherever we were when we first heard about Rebbe Nachman from Breslev, so we are able to glean a little bit of inspiration from this amazing person. And I know myself that Rebbe Nachman is a person that certainly changed my life in a revolutionary way, and I certainly would not be the person that I am today without him. And the truth is that he knew himself that he was going to make a difference. Many generations later, he told his students that mein fire wird brennen bis Mashiach is coming, that my fire will burn till Mashiach comes. And so he knew that he was the real thing. And there's a lot of ideas to talk about, a lot of things that we can consider his legacy. I want to start with something that's I think amazing, that tonight is the fourth night of Sukkot, and so everybody knows that every night of Sukkot, so we have an invitation to the different shepherds of the Jewish people, the Ushpizin, and the Ushpizin are corresponding to the different Sefirot. And so the fourth night of Sukkot, which is the yartzeit of Rebbe Nachman, so is corresponding to Moshe Rabbeinu, which is corresponding to Netzach, the Sefirah of Netzach, and Chaim. And Rebbe Nachman was always saying that I am Netzach. I am Netzach. Nitzachti v'anatzeach. Maybe we'll sing it later. Nitzachti v'anatzeach, that I will be victorious. And he said, because it's so simple, because Nachman is the same gematria as Netzach. Okay, it's very simple. So the memnon is tzaddik. So it's pretty it's not so complicated. So Rebbe Nachman always said that Nachman is Netzach, and my thing is the midah of Netzach. My thing is the energy of Netzach. Or what is Netzach all about? So Netzach is that even though I'm going to have opponents, I will always overcome. Nothing's going to stop me. Nothing is going to get me down. And the truth is that this was Rebbe Nachman's essence, because Rebbe Nachman's most famous thing that he said is Ein Yush Ba'olam Klal, that there is no such thing as giving up. That means that even though we had adversaries, even though we have things trying to get us to stop, things trying to break us, so that the midah of Netzach is that there is no such thing as giving up, that there's only one way to go, and that's to keep on trudging down. Keep on, put the right foot in front of your left foot in front of the right foot, just keep on going, that there is no possibility. And this is something that we need to remember, that it's something that giving up is something which is somehow become part of our lexicon. Rav Moshe Weinberger was saying once that come, you have to be in the sukkah. Rav Moshe Weinberger was saying that like when he was a kid, so like he had the most horrible rebbeim, that they were all just like angry, depressed people. They would just like take out their all of their anxiety on the students, and like they would yell and just be bitter and hit and I don't know, and just like and so like his taste of Judaism was like the most like unattractive thing. So he said like he would have gone off the derech, but like it wasn't in at the time. Now it's like it's a thing, like if it doesn't work for you, so you go off the derech, no big deal, and like it's like on a bigger scale, like it's like to give up on life, it's like unfortunately it's become like a thing, like that it's we never had a generation that had such a high suicide rate, and like it's become like a thing. Giving up is a possibility, that it's like you're like if things don't go the way you want them to go, so then giving up is it's a valid option. And Rebbe Nachman was here telling us that get it out of your lexicon, get this thought out of your head. There is no such thing as giving up. Like, I mean, we know that it doesn't help. You keep on, you wake up, and it's even worse than it was before. So, but like the concept of giving up, it's not an option, and this is something that Rebbe Nachman knew, that in these generations before Mashiach comes. So it's so critical to know that giving up is not an option, and not only did he teach us that it's not an option, but he showed us how it's done, and he showed us that even though he himself had so much adversary and so much going against him, people trying to stop him, people trying to ruin his life, and he never gave up, and he said, okay, I'll just deal with it. I'll deal and he just to laugh at all of the problems, and to just keep on going, and so the first thing that I think that to connect with the neshama of Rebbe Nachman is to really remember that this is he himself like he was struggling with depression himself. He was always like telling himself that, like, second guessing himself and telling himself that, yeah, maybe I don't have what it takes, maybe I can't do this, and he was the proof that that look at me, I never give up, I keep on going, I keep on running away, keep on starting again, and that he showed us that even when you have to just keep on starting again, one of the things that I think there aren't really seats here, but it'll work out that Hashem will find us seats, and one of the things about Rebbe Nachman that I think we find that he's more relatable than other Rebbes and other tzaddikim, and that is that like a lot of Rebbes, so when you think about like what makes them special, so like you think about a person that he's a miracle worker, you think about a person that he's just holy, that when he woke up in the morning, when he was born, so like there was signs in the heaven that this is, wow, a special soul came down and like everywhere he goes, you just like feel like the Shekhinah is with him, and like you think about people that know how to, that suddenly like they can levitate, and sometimes they can know the entire Shas in their sleep, and Rebbe Nachman, when he talks about his childhood, so he talks about the fact that nothing came easy to him. He talks about the fact that when he tried to learn, he just didn't get it. Like things just didn't penetrate his head. And when he was trying to not get angry, so like he kept on falling, and he would get angry again and again and again, and then he tried to not be so into food, and he was just obsessed with food, and he just couldn't stop, and just every bad midah, every single bad midah, it's just like fighting, and like he was like, he makes it sound like he was like he was born. No, there's a joke that the Chabad, the Alter Rebbe called his sefer the Sefer Shel Beinonim. So the people who are like, a Beinonim is a person who's like in the middle, like he's like not a tzaddik, not a rasha. So he explains what that means exactly. But so there's a joke that the Tanya is the sefer for Beinonim, and the Noam Elimelech, so he's the sefer for tzaddikim. He talks about how big the tzaddik is and how holy the tzaddik is, and so Likutei Moharan, that's the sefer for Rishai. So this is like, and he says like take it from me, I'm also Rishai. I get you guys. I was there. I know what it feels not to be able to learn. I know what it feels like that you're just not in the mood, you just don't have the energy, and I know what it means like to look at yourself in the mirror and think like, wow, I'm such a big loser, Hashem for sure hates me, and he was the one that he overcame that, and that even though he started from nothing, even though he started from all of this such a handicap, that his secret to success was that he didn't give up. And he says, I can make it, that I believe that I can overcome this, and the thing is just not to give up. That it's so easy. It's so easy to look at myself and say that, look, like, this is like I'm finished and I don't have no hope. And Rebbe Nachman knew that there's no such thing as there's no such hope. Every single one of us can make it very big. And he was saying, just look at me. Like, I'm no better than you. So if I made it, you can make it. So l'chaim to making it big from the very bottom. L'chaim to not giving up on ourselves, to believing that we can make it. Okay, so one of the things that we have to analyze and try to figure out when it comes to understanding Rebbe Nachman's secret is that what does it mean that he was the Rebbe of Rebbes, that he was the Rebbe that never died, that what's the attraction to him? And the truth is that he really made it to his students. He made it very clear that having a Rebbe is a commitment, and it's a very big basic part of Judaism. It says in the Mishnah that aseh l'charev, that every Jew is obligated to find themselves a mentor, to find themselves a Rebbe, and he would insist that his students stay very close to him. He was very I don't think possessive is the right word, but he would make sure that they're always having meetings, and the thing is that they would always come out of the meetings crying. but he insisted that they come back, and apparently he sometimes was gave them enough chizuk that they should want to come back. But Rebbe Nachman really made it very clear to his students that you guys need me. You guys need me, and don't blow it. Don't go too far. Don't go too far, because you actually need a Rebbe. And so one of the things that I think that when we're talking about what is the attraction of Rebbe Nachman and what we need from a Rebbe, so I think that some people make a mistake, that they think that the purpose of a Rebbe, the purpose of a mentor is that the Rebbe can teach you things that you don't know. A rabbi for sure went to yeshiva for 15 years, so he knows a thing or two. He learned a couple of books, so he can probably help you. The therapist probably went to school for a couple of years, so they probably know some stuff that they can help you. The life coach didn't do anything. He just posted himself that he's a life coach. We think that the purpose of a Rebbe, is to teach me something that I didn't know. And the thing is that we're just talking about this at Shalshulas, that one of the things about Sukkot is that it says in Kabbalah that there's two kinds of light. There's two kinds of inspiration. There's something called Or Pnimi, inner light, and there's something called Or Makif, that's surrounding light. So what's the thing about Or Makif? Sukkah is all about Or Makif. Sukkah is that the light of the Sukkah, it surrounds us, it envelops us, it embraces us. And Or Makif, it says, is a light that it's so bright, it's so intense, it's so infinite, that there are no vessels. We don't have the vessels, and no one has the vessels to really internalize them. So because they're ours and they're meant for us, so they hover over us. And the thing is that the fact that they hover over us, that also makes a difference. And sometimes we'll think that where did that come from? I'm in the mood to be a little bit better, and it's because we have this Or Makif, that this light which is just embracing us, and it's on the tip of our tongue, and it's not something that we can embrace, and that is really that Sukkot is to help us connect to this Or Makif, to remind us that it's not enough to go through life with Or Pnimi, it's with the inner light, and this is really the thing, that there's so many Rebbes that their thing is only optimi. That like, let me teach you something. That like, this is what it says in the Shulchan Aruch. Let me teach you what it says in Mesilas Yesharim. Let me teach you let me talk to your brain. That after I said it, so then you can say yes, 2 and 2 and 2 is 4. So now you can tell that to your students, and like that's how you'll grow as a Jew. And Rebbe Nachman was reminding us that that's not what a Rebbe is for. That a Rebbe, so what he gives over is something which is infinite. What he gives over is something that can't be explained in words, and it's something that just when you are in the presence of someone awesome, so then suddenly you just want to be a little bit better. And there's something that it's not something that you can put your finger on. It's not something that you can explain in words. Like I remember, like one on a personal level. So there's a tzaddik in Yerushalayim. His name is Tzimar Zilverberg. So I went to him. I went to his shalshudas for like 2 or 3 years every week, and so there's just being in his presence. You come out of there and you just want to be a little bit holier, and I remember like every time like my wife would ask me like, what did he say? I'm like, oh, I don't even know. It doesn't even matter. Like he could have said anything. He could have like yeah, he spoke in Yiddish. What's it? And it's so not about what he said. Who was it? I think when Rebbe Eger went to the first time to the Kotzker Rebbe, so he went for 2 weeks, and he went for maybe went for long, maybe he went for a month, and like so his father was very, very upset. His father was the Gadol Rebbe Eger, and he said. I said, what do you learn? You're missing from yeshiva for a month. What do you learn? What do you learn? So he said, I said, Abba, I learned that Hashem is one. I learned that we have one God. And so there was a girl that was cleaning the house, and so Rebbe Eger said, Spencer, how many guys are there? He says, one guy. Said Leibele, you wasted your time. Spencer knows more than you. And so he said, no. Spencer says it. I know it. Oh. And this is like there's the Torah that is the Or Pnimi, and there's the Torah that enters your brain, the things that you can explain to somebody else, and then there's the Or Makif, and then there's this light which can't be expressed, which can't be. It's not something that you can really feel. It's not something you can put your finger on, and that is everything. And that is the most important thing that you get from a Rebbe. And so when the Torah says Aseh L'Charev, so it means that everybody is obligated. Everybody is called upon to find someone that when I'm around this person, I feel like I'm connecting to something greater. I mean, that it's not just like within my frameworks, within my mindsets that like you taught me something I didn't know before, but you connect me to something awesome. You connect me to a different level of existence, and that's Or Makif. That's Or Makif. And then if the Rebbe is not, if your rabbi is your mentor is not talking from a different place, if he's not talking from a different reality, so then they're the same as you. So then you don't need them. You can also read a lot of books. That's not what living is all about. That's not what growing is all about. That's not what learning is all about. And the most important thing in finding Rebbe is finding somebody that sees things from a greater place than you. And so this is really like I think that like when there's you could say that like there's 3 levels. There's things, sometimes you learn something that you didn't know before. Okay? You learned a piece of information, and then there's another level that you became wiser. It's not something that's just like a fact that I didn't learn, but I learned how to look at life in a wiser way. But then there's a third level, And then the third level is that I saw something that I had never seen before. I saw something that I thought that couldn't be experienced. I thought something I didn't know that existed, and I saw that there's something greater than the things that we can see. There's something greater than the life that I've been living, and I want that, and I know that if I hang around you long enough, then that'll become something that's in my lexicon, something that I can relate with. So, and this is what Sukkot is all about. This is what the number 8 is all about. This is what having a Rebbe is all about. So, I bless us all that we should be able to find these places in our life, these people in our life that are actually great, and that we should believe that this can be achievable, that this is something that we can grow into, and we can expand our vistas to greater levels of existence, and l'chaim to constantly becoming something that we didn't know could possibly exist before. Zat Hashem. So one of the things about Rebbe Nachman that I think also was very attractive, how exactly does a Breslev Chassid look? How does the Breslev Chassid, if you, of course, if you're dancing on top of a minibus, then we know you're Breslev. Right? But if you're not dancing on top of a minibus, it doesn't mean that you're not Breslev, right? So the truth is that I once told a person that called himself Breslev that I consider Breslev to be a spiritual revolution more than a community, and he was very offended by that because he was part of the shul in Mea Shearim, and he thought that to be Breslev means that you only daven in the Breslev shul and you only dress like the dress in the Breslev yeshiva, and so that the truth is that Rebbe Nachman was very much into letting people be their own person, and Rebbe Nachman himself. So he himself, how could you put Breslev into a box? Rebbe Nachman, he told the students that if you want to find me after we're all not here anymore, so look for me opposite the chamber of Rebbe Nachman of Breslev, his cousin. So I'm going to be opposite the chamber of Rebbe Nachman of Breslev, but I'm the chamber where the colors are always changing. That's how you know it's me, because I'm the one where the colors are always changing, and he meant that's what I am. That's what my soul is. That I am somebody that I can't be the same thing for more than 1.5 seconds. That he even said once that like he told Hashem that, like, Hashem, if I'm gonna serve you today the way that I served you yesterday, so I'm not interested. Like, don't wake me up if that's what you have in store for me. I only want something brand new. That my life is not worth living if it's going to be the same thing as yesterday. And that he represents chidush. He represents constant innovation, constant change, constant evolution, and become constantly changing, constantly growing. And so the thing that Rebbe Nachman stood for is not becoming part of a construct, not becoming part of this organization, that this is what our flag is, and this is what we stand for. Not having a flag, we stand for that you can't explain us in a Wikipedia, a box for people out of the box, right? and a net for people out of the box, and so the thing is like this, that Rebbe Nachman himself, so he knew that he was a big chiddush. He knew that he was a big chiddush, and this is precisely what got him into trouble. That he would say great things about himself. He would say things like chiddush kamani lo haya me'olam, that like a novelty like me has never existed in the history of the world. He told the students that I'm a soul doctor. Bring me your broken souls and I'll just fix you. and this is what he stood for. This is like he looked at himself as that I can do this, and he said that like that I'm the river that purifies from all of the stains that exist in the world. So this is precisely what got him in trouble. This is precisely that there was a tzaddik, the Shpalo Zeda, that made a whole machlekes against him, that made people trying to tell him that he's really not the real thing, that he's really not holy, that you just get away from him, he's just full of himself. And the thing is that he really believed that he is an amazing thing, and he really believed that I am something of a chiddush. I am something which is kula chiddush. And the thing is that if it would have just been that just always talking about himself, so then that would have been that maybe it would have been strange. But the thing is that not only did he believe that he was something unique that never came into the world before, but he said the same thing about every one of his students. And this is the famous story that when Rebbe Nachman came to him for the first time, so he asked Rebbe Nachman, like, what do you want to learn? So he said, I have to improve my emunah. I want to really start really believing in Hashem. And so the Rebbe told him that, Nachman, you believe in Hashem already. I want to teach you to believe in yourself. I want to teach you to believe in yourself, and that's what he was missing. That you need to start believing in yourself. And the truth is that all of these people that they insist on fitting into boxes. So it a lot of the times it comes from a lack of believing in themselves. I'm in the middle of this book. I just I got a ride back from a wedding a couple of last week from this woman that she was in a cult. She was in a cult, and she escaped from the cult, and it was a whole story. And anyway, and so like at the before she dropped me off, so she said, by the way, I wrote a book, and do you want to read the book? And I wanted to have this book, so I read. So now I'm addicted to this book right now. And so she was talking about how one of the chapters in the book. So she was going to court for things like things that like happened in the cult, and so on the way to court, so her father that was so he brought her up normally and before she went off, and so the thing that he told her was that he had a couple of 5 seconds to talk to her, as she was in handcuffs and in shackles, and she was being taken to the court. And the thing that her father said to her was that you can find your own relationship with Hashem. You don't need some idiot to teach you how to connect with Hashem. And that was it. That was he was thinking what can I'm going to have 5 seconds that I'll be able to give over some message to her, that what's going to be my message. And a person that gets trapped in a cult, so it comes from this deep belief that I don't know, I can't, I have no idea, I have no way to connect with God, and so this is a holy person, so I need this holy person in my life, and so and we're just talking about the Korach HaTzadik, the Seil Harav, and how the belief in the Emunas HaChamim, and to understand that Or Makif, and that the Rebbe is something greater. But the thing is that from that place of Or Makif, from the place of that I'm actually closer to Hashem than you are. But what did Rebbe Nachman tell us? Instead of saying just follow me blindly, instead of that he said that the truth is under your nose, that you have it. You have the light. You just need to believe in yourself, that you can do this yourself. And this is why the Rebbe Nachman would tell all of his students that you each have to have a different shlichut. You each have a different mission in life, and he would talk about his different students, about what is the value of each one and what is the strong points of each one, and so. He has a story. Rebbe Nachman has a story. It's called the Meister Mibar Tefillah, the Master of Prayer, and so there's the story about the Master of Prayer. The story about it's somewhat it's a fictional story. It's a fictitious story about. It seems to me that what Rebbe Nachman wished he could do, and so he talks about this tzaddik that would that he would go and he would basically kidnap people, and like bring them to this like outside the desert. They had a certain clan where they would just like serve Hashem, and so the thing was that in this place where they were teaching people how to serve Hashem, so that there was no rules. Like every single person had their own thing that they needed to do, and the only rule is that you have to be true to yourself and you have to really, really serve Hashem. And this is like of course like Rebbe Nachman didn't actually kidnap anybody because he would end up in prison, but but like it seems to be like a certain like dream of his, like if only that they wouldn't it would be possible just without their parents telling him, no, I'm not going to trust you to go to Israel, that if only I could just get these people and just teach them to believe in themselves and teach them that you don't need to be like everybody else and you don't need to follow this game plan that society has put out, that this is the only way to serve Hashem, and like that was his dream. So Rebbe Nachman is this chamber of constantly changing stories, constantly changing colors, and from this place of Kulo Chiddush, from this place of that himself was in a place that he is constantly changing and constantly evolving. So from this place, that's where he told all of us that we are also a Chiddush, that we are all, every one of us is Chiddush Kamoni Lo Haya Me'olam, and that we have to serve Hashem with the tools that Hashem give us, that to copy somebody else, to try to be somebody else's version of Judaism, somebody else's flavor, so it's not going to work, and you're going to fail. It's not going to get you anywhere. So l'chaim to Chiddush, to l'chaim to just being us, to l'chaim to the beauty, the kaleidoscope of being unique, of being in touch with the essence of ourselves, B'ezrat Hashem. So before we sang the song of Sipur Masias of Rebbe Nachman, and you know that telling stories was a very big part of Rebbe Nachman's, the way he taught, the way that he wanted to help his Hasidim was specifically by stories, and he made this. There's more, by the way, that it was unique. The way the Hasidic story in the world of Rebbe Nachman is completely unrelated to what you would usually call tzaddikim stories, Hasidic stories. That usually the narrative of a Hasidic story is that somebody was in trouble, and then they went to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe davened for him, and then suddenly a guy either that he got a job, or the person that was trying to put them in jail just forgot about it, or that he somehow saved him and somehow just got money out of somewhere, or on the other hand, you have a story that the tzaddik was very selfless and very self-sacrificing, and he did something like a hard decision that he was able to overcome his the desire to just be normal and just have a comfortable life, and so the Rebbe Nachman stories is really something else entirely. When Rebbe Nachman told a story, Rebbe Nachman was simply telling a Torah, and he was telling the Torah in the words of a story, and it started actually that we know the date that he started. That for a while, the Rebbe Nachman was teaching regular conventional Torahs, and then at some point, so he told the students, like, I've had it with you, that it's not working, it's not going in. Like, of course, I don't give up because I'm Rebbe Nachman, but I'm not going to teach you any more Torah. From now on, I'm only telling stories. Okay, sort of like what we all wish our fifth grade Rebbe would have said. And so from then on, so he only started telling stories, and the stories that he tells was simply that he was giving over ideas that couldn't be expressed in conventional ways, that the only way to really give over the idea of the story was, or the idea of the Torah was only in the envelope of a story. And so he started his storytelling with a story called The Lost Princess, and And so 13 Tales, yeah. He didn't, like, before, when he started, he didn't call them 13 Tales. That's only when he finished, yeah. And so the thing with the stories was that he started this particular story, which is the first of the stories that he taught as a story, as a teaching, and that anybody who hears the story is going to have thoughts of tshuva. Anybody who hears a story is going to just want to become a better person. And so the idea of a story was that after he told the story, so he told the students that I said a very big kiddush today, because the Welt sagt that in the street they say that you tell stories to put people to sleep, and I tell stories to wake people up. Okay? And this is what he wanted to give over from stories, is that to be able to wake up people, to be able to wake them up from their slumber through stories, and so the truth is that there is a precedent. There is a precedent to this. So the story of a story that's going to change a person, and that I think that he got this from the Baal Shem, from his great grandfather. And there's a story in the world of Chassidus, in the culture of Chassidus, which really brings out this idea, and that is the story of how the Baal Shem was Makarev the Talus Yaakov Yosef. Yaakov Yosef Mipana. So he was, before he was a student of the Baal Shem, so he was a very, very great genius. He was a big Rosh Yeshiva, and he was he knew the entire Shas backwards and forwards. He was very, very bright. Not only was he very bright, but he was very, very strict, and he was very, very a lot of self-discipline. And the way that he taught his students was that you need to be at shul at 6:00 or else, and that you need to make sure that whenever thoughts of spacing out come into your brain, you need to kill those thoughts, and whenever you need to take a break, you need to kill those thoughts. You need to just be very, very fierce and very, very strong, and that's how I made it. And if it worked for me, so it can work for you. And that was the way he lived his life. And so he had a shul and he had a yeshiva, and the thing is that the one day, he had his minyan. They started at 6:00 in the morning, and one day, so it's just him and the gabbai. Nobody's showing up. So they're waiting 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and like there's no such thing. Like in this yeshiva, like if you show up 2 minutes late, one of the schools I teach, so there's a teacher that, like, if you're more than a minute and a half late to class, so like he locks the door, like, and like, so like that was life by the Talus Yaakov Yosef, and theoretically, right? and so that was the way. And so like there was no such thing as so he told the guy, what's going on here? What's this? Like, go find out where everybody is. And so he goes out to the street, and he sees that there's a guy in the marketplace telling stories, and the whole minyan is listening to the stories of this guy in the marketplace. And so that's what he tells Yaakov Yosef, and so he says, well, tell them, go get them. Tell them you have to come. This is not a time for stories. You have to daven shachris. And so he says, okay, I'll try. And he goes to get them. And 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And apparently he got sucked in himself. So the Talus Yaakov Yosef goes that okay, if you want to get something done, you got to do it yourself. So he goes to the marketplace, and so he sees this man sitting on a stool telling stories, and this is the Baal Shem, obviously, and so he starts hearing a story, and the story goes like this: that there was once a shtetl, that there were two people that lived in the shtetl, and one of them was a very big tzaddik, and he was always learning, and he was always davening, and like his in-laws supported him, and he didn't have a worry in the world, and so because he didn't have a worry in the world, so he was able to daven like as long as he wanted, and it was mamish like every word, it was like counting money, like it says, and that everything was just like his entire life was devoted to Avodas Hashem, and there was another guy wow, oh my gosh, that there was another guy in the shtetl, that this guy, he was a peasant, and he had to work very hard. He was a schlepper. It was like his profession was that he was schlepping things, and like he was the guy at the airport that like he need something to go. It was maybe like that's what he did, and so he never learned yeshiva, because like from a young age, like he was just helping out with his family, and so he never like his whole abilities were that he could like barely say Tehillim, and he said very slowly, and so like of course he davened at the labiyut, he davened at the quickest minyan, and he never had time to learn, and so one day they happened to be sitting next to each other. They were online at some I don't know, like they were online for the pharmacy or something, and so the peasant, the schlepper, so he's sitting next to this Talmid Chacham, and he sighs, he gives out a krecht, a sigh, and he says, oh, if only I could serve Hashem like you. If only I could serve Hashem like you. And then this rabbi, this little prince, so he looks at him, and like he says, like, you think that you could serve Hashem like me? Like, says he smirked, he said a certain like he sort of like laughed at him, and so he didn't respond, like look who thinks, like as if you could, and so so they go on, they part ways, and they live their long lives, and then after 120, so they both come to heaven, and so first they bring the peasant, the schlepper, and first they bring all of his mitzvahs, and all of his mitzvahs they're all like broken, and they aren't full, and he doesn't really know how to daven, he doesn't really know how to learn, and everything is like almost, and before Hashanah, so my 4-year-old was asking my wife that, I don't understand, where do my mitzvahs go? Did they go on the scale, or did they go into a brick in the Beis HaMikdash? Where doesn't ponders of a 4-year-old, and so all of his mitzvahs, so they go on the scale, and like it's not so heavy, and then all of his averos come, and they're whoa, like he did everything wrong, so all his averos come, but then comes the sigh. That sigh that he said, if only, that desire to be in a better place, that desire, if only I could really serve Hashem, that sigh, it goes on the side of the mitzvahs, and it weighs down the scale, and he goes straight into paradise. And then they bring in the Talmid Chacham, and they bring in the Talmid Chacham, and he has all of his mitzvahs, and it's all like mamish, like tons and tons and tons of mitzvahs, and then he brings averos, and it's like barely has any averos, but then they bring that smirk that he thought that he was holier than this like simple hardworking Jew, and he thinks that because I learn in yeshiva all day, so that makes that I'm holier than you, and that smirk, so it went to the side of the averos, and it outweighed all of his mitzvahs, and at that moment, so the Talmid Yaakov Yosef, so he realized that, oh my gosh, that's me, that I'm that rabbi, that I look at all these simple Jews, and I think that I'm holier than them, and I think that if you can't live up to a certain standard, then who needs you, and your Judaism isn't worth anything, and your mitzvahs aren't worth anything, your davening isn't worth anything, and your Torah, forget about it, and I didn't know that like if you're doing your best, so then you're at least as holy as I am, and that was my story, and that I just heard this morning that the Baal Sulam, that Rav Ashlag, so he would say that the if you have two people, one of them their struggle in life is with tivus, is with lust, and they're like all day they're hanging out with they're just chilling, and they're just getting whatever bars and girls, and that's their life. It's just a life full of lust. And on the other hand, you have a rabbi, but he's really full of himself. He really thinks that he is actually the tzaddik, and he actually thinks that he's God's gifts to mankind. So the Baal HaSulam would say that the person, to the naked eye, it looks like the person that his struggles is with kavod, is with gaiva. So it's less of a problem than the person that his struggles are struggles of tivus. But he says that the truth is that it's much worse. It's much worse because tivus is your body. So to mess up your body, okay, but gaiva is your neshama. If your neshama is messed up, then it's much more twisted. It's much more rotten than the person that just messed up with his body. So he would tell his students that you have to be very, very careful not to go to rabbis that are full of themselves. It'll mess with your soul. So the Kutzker would say that I prefer hanging out with Rishayim that know that they're Rishayim than to hang out with tzaddikim that think that they're tzaddikim. And so the Talmud Yaakov Yosef, so he realized that this is me. This is I'm that rabbi that I look at these simple, hardworking Jews and I think that I'm better than them, and this is my story, and so then obviously he realized how much he needs the Baal Shem, and he became one of the Baal Shem's closest students, and so the purpose of a story is of telling stories is that through telling stories, so we are able to hear ourselves in the story. And this is a story that transforms. This is a story that can really touch us, a story that can really bring us closer to Hashem. This is what Rebbe Nachman was trying to do when he was telling us stories. He wanted us to hear ourselves in those stories. So I bless us all that we should be able to hear a lot of good stories, to hear ourselves in the story, to find those stories that are really our story. And to hear a story that's your story, you need to have a storyteller that understands you. So it really all circles back to finding the right Rebbe, finding the Rebbe that's going to understand us, and through the Rebbes that understand us, to tell us the right stories. And that's how we're going to get it. That's how we're going to finally find the tshuva b'zat Hashem. Okay, so one of the things about Rebbe Nachman. So the thing that I think it's so beautiful that Rebbe Nachman passed away on Sukkot, because Sukkot is Man Simchatenu, and probably after En Yerush B'Olam Klal. So the second most famous quote from Rebbe Nachman is mitzvah gedol yos b'simcha tamid. It was the mitzvah to always be joyful, always be happy, and so we said before that this was more an aspiration for Rebbe Nachman. Rebbe Nachman actually, so he struggled with depression, and he was trying to be happy, and he told his students that don't give up. That in your journey to being happy, that if you don't give up, you'll eventually make it. And so what is the secret? What is the secret of happiness? Happiness for Rebbe Nachman. So the truth is that one of the things that Rebbe Nachman taught is actually about the holiday of Sukkot, and that is that about how to make a sukkah. How to make a sukkah. So the Torah says that the essence of the sukkah is actually the schach. It's through the schach. The schach has kedusha. There's kedusha in the schach. That the shechina comes through the schach. And how do you make schach? What's schach made of? So the schach has to be psolet, garan, v'yakif. Okay, it has to be natural. But how do we? Daniel L'chaim, Chag Sameach. Thank you so much for joining. That we learned that what does it take to be schach? It needs to be psolet, garan, v'yakif. It needs to be the leftovers from the threshing floor. That's how you the straw that it doesn't get anywhere. You can't eat it. You can't do anything with it. That it's just a box of a box of straw. That's what it is. It's the psolas kain v'yakov. That's how you make sach. That's how you bring the shechina. That the stuff that is naturally psola, the thing that is thrown out, and that you take from the bottom of the bottom and you put it to the top of the top, and that's how we have shechina. Okay, that you need this psolas kain v'yakov, and if you're not going to have this psolas, then you can't. If you're going to take the good stuff, you're going to say no. I want to make my sukkah with the best wheat, with the best fruits. That's it's possible. It's not. There's going to be no shechina. There's going to be no shechina. So this is what is this? What's Rebbe Nachman really saying over here? So the psolas kain v'yakov, that's us. That's us. These people that nobody thought that we could make it. Nobody looked at us. We didn't seem like the shiniest esrog, and to say that that you are exactly what Hashem is looking for. You are exactly what it takes to make the that on Yom Kippur it says we start Yom Kippur by saying that anu matrim that palel ima avayanim, that you need to we need these people. We need these people that are not following everybody else. That are not going in the way that everybody else thought was meant for them. Because the truth is that those are sometimes the deepest people. And there's a Torah that I always share from what's his name, Carl Jung, that when they started AA, so it was started by a guy named Dr. Bab, and so when that very early, the third step in the 12 steps is that you need to have a higher power. And so when he was writing this booklet, so he was in touch with Carl Jung, and so he asked him, like, why are you putting God into this picture? Like, I want to make it as universal as possible. I don't want people to think that if you don't have a God, then you can't heal. And he said, no, but you need it, because I'll tell you why. The people that they're looking to drugs, and they're looking to substances, they're looking to alcohol. Why do you think they're doing it? Why do you think that they're so into alcohol? You think they like drugs and alcohol? You think that's what it is? The thing is that they know what everybody else doesn't know. They know that life is actually deeper than just having a 9-to-5 job. They're looking for something deeper, and they know that this can't be it, and they find it in this sensation of drugs and alcohol. But the truth is that they're looking for God, and the only thing that's going to quench their thirst, it's only the real thing. It's only the real thing. So sometimes we look at people and we say, oh, he's such a loser. He's such a piece of garbage. Look at him. And the truth is that he's not a piece of garbage. That he's actually much better than you. You're a person that you're okay just doing your thing. You're okay just with a 9-to-5 job, because you're actually a blah soul. And that he's a blah soul, and that's why he's okay, with just having a regular